not Pete, I beg your pardon. Somebody's just pointed out, Paul. There you go. It wasn't Peter, it was Paul. Paul points out that every conversation in a pub at the moment is going to be running along these themes. I hope so, because I think it's really important, but I don't know. It's not a conversation I've had with anybody yet in a pub. I haven't been to the pub since the weekend, since Friday, so I wouldn't have been able to. 6 minutes after 10 is the time. This is how we're going to do it. What are you reckoning? So the reason why outfits like the Halifax and Virgin Money and other banks yesterday withdrew some mortgage products temporarily, removing fee-paying mortgages in the case of the Halifax. The reason why they have done that is because they think that interest rates are likely to go up. The markets, and we had this explained to us yesterday, the markets are now bets are being placed on interest rates hitting 6% early next year. So mortgage providers, mortgage suppliers are obviously looking at where they are likely to be on the loans they have made for the duration of those loans. And there is currently so much confusion and or concern about where they are likely to be that they have pulled the plug temporarily on some products, not on all products, but on some products. They're sort of saying, look, this is such an absolute skip fire that there's no earthly way we're going to lend you £250,000 on any terms at all until we've got a much clearer picture of what is going to happen and where we're likely to be. So off the top of my head, this is going to be hitting the rental sector pretty hard. This is going to be hitting people who live in buy-to-let properties whose landlords are essentially using the rent to pay off the mortgage. That's going to be pretty scary. If you're in that category, I'm not here to judge you today. I'm simply here to ask what's happening to you. If these numbers are real, these what would you call them? These renewals, these mortgage renewals are real, you're looking potentially at some sort of housing collapse, a collapse in the housing market. And don't take my word for it. They're now writing about this in the right-wing newspapers. A couple of things from the right-wing newspapers today that I think are interesting. Even the Daily Mail is describing the new Prime Minister of Italy as far-right. She comes from the same political background as Benito Mussolini. Older listeners may remember him. So you have even the Daily Mail describing her as far-right, even as some sort of fellow fascists on social media try to pretend that she isn't. And you also have the reports of Tory MPs, Conservative MPs, being fearful of some sort of collapse in the housing market. Wow. And it's only Tuesday. The mini-budget, of course, was announced on Friday. If you were to remove the Queen's funeral and all the attendant ceremony from the last 3 weeks, they've only really been in Downing Street for a week and a bit, this lot. And the pound has already hit a record low. Mortgage products have already been temporarily withdrawn from the market. Newspapers are already reporting Conservative MPs fearful of a collapse in the housing market. Everywhere you go, theoretically, people should be deeply concerned unless they do what I tended to do as a younger man, which is make like an ostrich and presume that because I'm okay today, I'll be okay tomorrow. This is why I went to the trouble of finding out where I sit mortgage-wise at the moment, just so that I could either panic or feel a little bit reassured. And it means, of course, that a lot of people listening to this programme are going to be looking at scenarios completely different from mine. You're thinking, oh, well, it's all going to have come out in the wash, isn't it, by 2024? Did you just burp on the radio, James? This is the content we tune in for. I did not, did I? No, I think I was just digesting my green tea of a morning. Keeps the energy levels up. If I did, I do apologise. Honestly, there's a danger of becoming too relaxed in the studio, I think. That is not something... I mean, bright and breezy is one thing, but being too comfortable and too relaxed... Keith hates the way that I manhandle the microphone, for example, because apparently if that comes out in your ears, as if there's some sort of wrestling match going on in the studio, which there isn't yet because no one's rung in. 10 minutes past 10 is the time. Well, lots of people have rung in, but we haven't put any of them on air yet.